So there's this subreddit I recently came across, and let me tell you, it's quite intense over there. The subreddit is called Just No Mother-in-Law. A lot of women are sharing some of their crazy experiences over there. Honestly, I'm very surprised. I know my mom is nothing like what most of these women are experiencing, or at least I hope so. So enjoy, I guess. An introduction to my mother-in-law. So, I've been married for a week now. My mother-in-law always hated me and blatantly told me that. My dear husband has a spine as dull as mud. Here is a collection of things she did. I'm very thin. I just cannot gain weight no matter how hard I try. Whenever I am at my mother-in-law's house, she insists on me eating something. My husband gets some delicious chicken and rice dish, and I just get tons of carbs. She served me spaghetti with mashed potatoes and French fries once, and she poured cheese all over it, and was pissed that I did not eat it. This woman saw me naked more often than my mother. She would just break down the door of the bathroom, because she was afraid I would faint while peeing or showering. She crawled into bed with my husband the first night. After our wedding she wore silver. To my wedding she bought me lingerie for my husband and sex toys. She calls her lover my husband's name as a nickname. What should I do? I really love my husband. I really do. I tried talking to him, but he just silently nods whenever I tell him. Also, name suggestions are welcome. Update 1. The day I nullified my marriage. It is today. Sorry for all the typos, but I am a mess. Some of you might remember me. I am the one daughter-in-law that had a crazy Jocasta mother-in-law that hated her from day one and told her so. Okay, many daughters-in-law here are riddled with that. I am the one who has only been married for a week. Today is the day I nullified the wedding. No need for divorce under 6 months in the country that I live in. I tried. I really tried. His mother tried everything to get me away from her son, and she finally succeeded. Her son had a spine like jelly. If she told him to kill me, he would do it. On to the last straw that brought me to this decision. I have a very severe allergy to latex. I react really badly to it. We found out when I was a little toddler, and I was treated in the hospital, and went into shock after a nurse just touched me. Since then, I have a little sticker on my driver's license, and I wear an allergen necklace. I can literally die from sniffing a glove. My ex-mother-in-law knew this. My ex-husband told her last week, after I got home from work, I was angry with my ex-husband. I cannot remember why. Everything is really fuzzy now, and I cannot remember too well. However, I went to bed early. I did not think about it much, and went to sleep. I woke up 17 hours later in the hospital. My ex-mother-in-law had cut up 75 latex gloves to create a little layer under my duvet cover. I do not remember, but when my ex-husband went to bed several hours later, he found me white as a ghost, sweating and barely breathing. You know why I knew it was my mother-in-law? Because she called me to brag about it. While I was in the hospital, she told my ex-husband that she was afraid I would wet the bed since I acted so childish. Remember, I am a 27-year-old woman. My ex, instead of going full no contact, said he was sorry about my behavior. He was sorry. I was in the hospital for a week. My ex visited me once to make me apologize to his mother, which I did not. I got security and told everyone he is not allowed to be back in my room. I don't fucking know what happened. I don't. He was not like that. We were together for 5 years. We were not naive kids. It is like I married a man that I had never met before. I am still shaking with anger and disappointment, and I am pissed at myself. How could I have married such an excuse for a man? How can I still love him after everything he has done to me? Married on the 25th of January. Nullified the marriage on the 20th of February. I will try to calm down. Maybe I can tell you about all the other things she has done to me. I still have no name for her, and I can't think of anyone other than Lucifer. Thank you for reading. Update 2. The day I nullified my marriage. Yup, already. So, I already have an update for you. No time to mourn for me, I guess. Things have to come at me as fast as they can. First of all, thank you all so much for your words of support and wisdom. I am sorry I could not answer every one of you, but I did read every single comment, though I could not reply anymore. My eyes are still swollen, and everything I typed was gibberish. Thank you so much. And for those calling me brave, thank you. That is very sweet of you, but I don't feel that brave. My aunt helped me a lot, and I just tried to get the hell out of that craziness. I do not think there is anything heroic about that. To clarify, yes, my ex did want me to apologize, but not because the attempted murder did not succeed. Took me a while to accept that this was actually what she wanted to do, but because I hung up the phone on her while I was at the hospital, and she called me to brag about her for thinking. My ex is stupid and delirious, but not that stupid. I honestly do not know if my ex intended his mother to do what she did. I just know she got a key for my apartment. I know he is an idiot. And she did what she did when my ex was at work. I did not know that she was even there that day, or that she received our spare key, but she must have done this in the early morning. I started at 4 a.m. at the airport, and I got home at approximately 4 p.m. Yay, delay! And I was really tired, and the fight made me even more tired, so I went to bed at 8 p.m. So my wonderful aunt is a lawyer, and she called me and told me that Latex Lucci, thanks to everyone for the name suggestions, is in custody. My aunt is a very sweet and nice woman, but she can lay the hell into you if you look at her the wrong way. She is the sole reason I am okay now. Unfortunately, my ex-husband was already released from the police. Apparently, he told them that he was not aware that the gloves were made out of latex, because you cannot buy latex gloves in an ordinary supermarket here. You always get the powder-free and latex-free version, and I honestly do not know if he is being truthful or if he does not want to go to prison. My ex-husband called me on my new cell phone number. My old airport employer was not aware that he was not to be given my new number, even though I told them 50 times, so they gave it to him. Update to Latex Lucci. I am sorry. Hello guys, it's me again. Here is an update to the situation with Latex Lucci. If you need a summary, BitchBot has you covered. But basically, I married the love of my life, and after a month in the hellhole, I nullified my marriage. My ex did a 180 and turned into a complete stupid arsehole that, at least mentally, is too attached to his mom. I got a toxic shock after Latex Lucci shoved 75 cut-up latex gloves in my duvet cover, and my ex expected me to apologize. I fled the scene 500 kilometers away and pressed charges. My ex found out my new number, and I changed it again and moved again. I did not get a restraining order against my ex, because technically he did not do anything against the law, but Latex Lucci was taken into custody. Yesterday, Latex Lucci was sentenced to 13 months in prison. After that, she will have to spend a month in a psychiatric ward. She is not allowed in my immediate vicinity under any circumstances whatsoever. The trial was hard, really hard. I got married 3 months ago. Everyone who danced at my wedding and congratulated me was there. I felt how they all hated me. But nothing hurt me more than the way my ex looked at me, like I was the dirt on his shoe. I am still not over him, even though I tried to act that way. After the trial, my ex tried to hold me up, but my badass aunt just dismissed that jelly boy. I am a mess, but this sub has a therapeutic effect on me. So thank you guys for everything you have done for me. I will try to calm down. Maybe I can go into more detail. Thank you so much. Update 4. Latex Lucci was released from prison. Hello everyone. For those who do not remember me, I was the one girl who nullified her marriage because my ex-mother-in-law tried to kill me by cutting up gloves and putting them in my duvet cover, gloves made out of latex, which I am deadly allergic to. I moved away to another airport and moved again to another airport because my first employer gave my ex-husband my new phone number. I am truly sorry that I have not been replying to you guys. I did read every message and every comment, and they gave me so much strength. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the messages and replies. They meant a lot to me. I am much better now. I barely think about Lucci and my ex because I moved on with my life. I have a new boyfriend now. Our relationship is exactly a month old. Everything is fine. And today I got a call from my lawyer aunt who said that Latex Lucci was released from prison today. She was supposed to serve 13 months. She ended up serving almost 8, and she only spent 2 weeks in the psychiatric ward. My aunt told me that she told her she wants to apologize to me in person. I laughed. Guys, I could not stop. I literally laughed out loud, and it was like I was not physically able to stop it. After I calmed down, I said, "Fuck that," very loudly, and my aunt told me that she thought that was my reaction. She just wanted to ask me first. I live very, very far from where I used to live, and I have not talked to my ex since the day I saw him at the trial, but I am still scared. I am scared that the psycho woman will somehow find me. I am just glad I am not alone. I hope you guys are okay. Stay safe. My mother-in-law will not stay out of my home, and she will not stop interfering with my life. Hello everyone. I am 19, female, and married to a total mama's boy who is 23. We have a baby boy together. Our little one is 3 months old, and he is the cutest. We've been married for a year now. We eloped after 7 months together because I was pregnant. What I didn't know is that his mother forced him to elope with me because she did not want a bastard grandchild. He is generally a very good guy, so we went to counseling and worked through it. My mother-in-law and father-in-law bought us our home as a gift, which I am very grateful for. What I am not grateful for is my mother-in-law constantly being in our home. She has a spare key, and I frequently come home to furniture being rearranged, meals that I cooked thrown out, and my immodest clothing missing. Also, all my red lipsticks and nail polishes are gone too. My husband tried to make me let it go, but I told him very clearly that her key needed to be taken as soon as possible, and she was only allowed over if he was there. He agreed and took her key. She phoned me and called me an evil witch for that. A few days ago, I received a call from my husband while he was at work. My mother-in-law was on her way, and I was to let her in with no drama. I told him that under no circumstances would she be allowed in. I calmly reminded him of our boundaries, and I said he was welcome to call her and tell her to come later when he was home. When my mother-in-law pulled up outside, I called her and said very kindly that I was sick, a lie, and that I did not have the energy to host someone at that moment and did not want to risk getting her sick. She tried to persist, but I snapped and said she could go back home because she was not being let in unless my husband was home. The woman has arthritis and Raynaud's, so I thought, we have cold weather right now. Surely this woman knows her own limits and will eventually get back in her car to leave. I was very, very wrong. She stayed banging on the door for an hour, and my father-in-law had to come get her because her hands became too painful for her to drive. My husband and in-laws were furious with me, and he said that I was acting like a child and being immature. I received abusive phone calls from his sisters, and my parents and friends are telling me I was wrong to lock her out because of her health issues. The only person who agrees with what I did is my husband's younger brother, who is 19. I would like some advice on how to move forward with setting effective and reasonable boundaries with my mother-in-law so that I don't have everyone and their mothers calling me childish and evil. Please don't ask me to get a divorce or go no contact. Thank you. Edit. I am currently asking my cousin, who is a lawyer, for recommendations for a family and divorce lawyer. I am putting this here so I can't go back on it. I am currently staying with my great aunt with my little one. Update 1. Hello everyone. I would like to update you all and ask for more advice. I am still staying with my great aunt, and my husband now knows I want a divorce. I did not attend the meeting to get my name on the title of the house because my lawyer said that if I want a clean break, I should not get even more tangled up with him. My lawyer also said that I will most likely get full custody, as I have multiple pieces of evidence of being my baby's primary and sometimes sole caregiver. When I didn't turn up for the meeting, he called me, and that's when I told him that I wanted a divorce. He freaked out completely. He started begging me not to leave him, and he came to my great aunt's house to try to convince me to get back with him. He swore that he would look for another job, he works for his parents, and set boundaries with my mother-in-law. He even promised to return the house to his parents and look for a place for us to rent. Having some time away from him really put things into perspective for me. He is lovely sometimes, but when it comes to his parents, he is the worst person I have ever met. Surprisingly, my mother-in-law called me after my husband left, and she asked to meet me. I told her I would only meet in public, so we met at a cafe later that day, and she apologized. She said that she would not be able to live with being the cause of our divorce and the destruction of our home. She is extremely Christian, so I suspect this is a religious thing, and she does not want to go to hell or something. My husband gave her back her spare key when I refused to let her in. She gave me the key during our meeting and said she would never come over without permission. She asked me to consider counseling with her son, and she also asked me to arrange a new appointment with the house lawyer to get my name on the title. I do not trust her at all, and I think she is doing this so people do not talk badly about her, but her advice all seems to be things that would be in my best interest. I did, however, agree to counseling. Our first session is next week, and my husband seems proactive and excited for it. He came over again yesterday to see our son, and he brought me flowers and brownies, and said he really missed me at home. Do you think I am doing the right thing here? And do you have any suggestions? Just to put your minds at ease. My parents are now on my side, and my dad is paying for my lawyer. My mother-in-law is not paying for counseling. My husband is. I'm in college, pursuing an English literature degree with a minor in psychology. I am hoping to go to law school. I'm not totally financially reliant on my husband. I have money saved from when I used to work and trust funds from my parents. Edit. I forgot to mention this bit. My husband either replaced or reimbursed me for everything she stole back then. Am I the asshole for not allowing my mother-in-law to see my baby? I will try to keep things as short and sweet as possible. I am 22 and my husband is 27. We found out we were pregnant before we got married and decided to postpone the wedding. We did eventually get married after the baby was born. We waited until I was around 9 weeks pregnant until we started telling our closest friends and family. My now mother-in-law was very upset at the time, and after saying my baby would burn in hell, she came with a long list of demands. I ignored her for the first couple of months. It was easy not to see her because my husband did not allow any visitation during my pregnancy because he had lost a lot of family due to COVID and simply did not want to take any chances. We ended up filming a video of us announcing the gender and sent it to everyone via text, WhatsApp and email. My mother-in-law was furious that she was not the one who planned our gender reveal and had a huge meltdown. After finding out it was a boy, the first thing she asked was whether we were going to have him circumcised by the church's doctor. My husband and I had a long discussion about this and decided that, if it is not medically necessary, we would leave him intact so that he can make his own choices about his body and religion when he is old enough to understand everything. My mother-in-law said she would not acknowledge my child as her grandchild and did not want anything to do with him. This was the last I heard from her until my baby was born. I went into preterm labor at 33 weeks, and my baby boy was born at 34 weeks via emergency C-section. After all efforts at natural birth failed. We announced his birth on the family group chat, and my mother-in-law had yet another meltdown about not being told I was in labor and that the baby had been born. We announced his name, and she cried even worse when she heard we had not picked a family name. She showed up unannounced when we got home from the hospital, and my husband told her to leave. She has been harassing us nonstop, and we eventually let her meet him. I exclusively breastfeed, and she hates not being able to feed him and having to give him back to me when he is hungry. When she came to visit again, I let her hold him while I quickly cleaned up the kitchen. When I got back into the room, there she was, feeding him a bottle of formula that she had snuck in without my knowledge. I immediately took my son and called our estate security to escort her from the premises. My husband supports me completely and has cut all ties with his mother. His brother has now been giving us hell and trying to convince us to fix the relationship because my mother-in-law cannot cope with life anymore. He has repeatedly told me I am an arsehole and countless other names and says I should have just done what my mother-in-law wanted so everyone could be happy. So, am I really the arsehole? Update 1. My mother-in-law wants to legally adopt my baby. I have had a lot of trouble with my mother-in-law, but this is probably the most upsetting incident. Today my mother-in-law invited me to spend the day shopping with her. We have had a lot of ups and downs, and I really thought this was her way of reaching out and that we could start to rebuild the relationship. We sat at a coffee shop and had barely ordered our drinks when she asked me who my baby's godparents are and where he would go if something were to happen to us. At first, I thought she was just concerned and perhaps a little nosy. I politely told her that we have not made a final decision yet because there are many things that need to be taken into consideration before we can make a final decision. Before I could finish my sentence, she ambushed me with the topic of adopting my baby so that there would be fewer problems and procedures in the event that something happens to us. My husband and I are both perfectly healthy and stable financially and physically, so the chances of something happening to both of us are very slim. I thought by changing the topic she would eventually forget about it, but the next thing I knew she burst into tears in the middle of the coffee shop, asking why she is not good enough to look after my baby, and what she has done so wrong that we had not even asked her if she would take care of him if something were to happen. I just told her it's not any of her business, paid the bill without even drinking my coffee, and left. I came home to my husband being upset because my mother-in-law had been blowing up his phone and saying I denied her any and all rights to see my baby in the future and that she tried to reconcile with me, but I am just too much of a monster. I left my husband at home while I went grocery shopping so we both could cool down, and when I got home I told him what really happened. He didn't say much after I told him, but he has been ignoring my mother-in-law, and now she wants to come have a family meeting at our house tonight. My husband doesn't think it's a good idea, but I, on the other hand, would love to put her in her place and let her know exactly where she stands when it comes to my baby. What do you think I should do? Update 2. We decided not to have the family meeting. My husband sent my mother-in-law a short text in which he said that no family meeting would be held. She called him about 2 minutes after the text, and we blocked both her and my father-in-law, as well as my brother-in-law, on everything, so that no one could contact us. We decided to consult with a lawyer to find out exactly what our rights are and the right way to handle things legally. My mother-in-law did threaten to take us to family court for visitation, but luckily grandparental rights are not really a thing here if the party suing for visitation does not already have a safe established relationship with the child in question. My son is still a baby, so she has nothing to go on. Thank you all for your words of advice and encouragement on my previous posts. I don't think that I'll need to post any more updates in the future, as we are now completely sure what we want to do and have finally found the strength to do so. Mother-in-law said to my husband that I am controlling, lazy, and spoiled. My parents-in-law are staying with us for 3 weeks before they move into their new place. It's their first time moving next to us, so it is a huge adjustment. My mother-in-law emphasized so many times that she wants me to take it easy, sleep as much as I want, do what I want, and take advantage of their help. So I have. I have been sleeping in and letting them take him for the morning. I have been taking frequent breaks and not cooking as much. And still she encouraged me, so I gratefully took her up on the offer. I found out today she sat down and talked to my husband while I was not there to get some things off her chest. She said he was doing all the work and that I was not doing anything, that I am being lazy and taking advantage of him financially by taking care of us, that he spoils me too much and that I am controlling him. I am extremely upset. How can she say this after telling me to take it easy? It was obviously incredibly stupid of me to think it would be any different. Now I feel extremely sad. She also said she wished I would just leave my son with them more often and leave the house so that they could spend more time with him. He is 2, which is what I thought I was doing by letting them hang out with him in the morning when I sleep in and in the afternoons when I got to sit down for a bit. Not to mention, we spent the whole last weekend out with friends with him in their care, while an out-of-town friend came to visit us. Clearly, that was not enough time either. I have no idea how to feel or what to do in their presence anymore. I feel like I am being watched now. I feel like I cannot enjoy myself anymore. And now I feel reluctant to leave my son in their care. So, what do they want me to do? Do all the cooking and cleaning and cater to their every need while they spend all their time playing with my son, leaving no time for me to enjoy my son myself? He is only 2 and growing so quickly. Of course, I want to relish his every moment, even if it seems like the little things. Please leave advice. I do not know how to go forward. My husband defended me, but that does not change the fact that this is what they think about me. Update 2. Cannot explain why my mother-in-law gets on my nerves. Nothing she does is inherently bad, but I still cannot stand her. Is it like a biological thing? Because she is not my own mother, is she just another woman? I am trying so hard to understand my own feelings. Long story short, my in-laws moved 5 minutes away from us a few months ago, around late summer. They used to live far away before, and we only saw them twice a year on holidays. And I enjoyed that. We had a courteous relationship. We did not get on each other's nerves. I think they had a pretty positive opinion of me, because they did not really know me too well. They just saw me as positive and upbeat, very polite and gracious. I liked that they were farther away and had no influence on my baby growing up. They have very boomer tendencies that I have tried very hard not to adopt. A simple example is that I did not overuse the words "be careful" with my baby and allowed him the space and freedom to explore his surroundings without fear. But whenever they saw him, they would literally shield him from things and helicopter over him. But whatever. I only saw them twice a year, so I could live with it. But now I see them literally every day, and I feel like I could die. I do not want to see my mother-in-law every day. She drops by maybe 4 times a week, most of the time extremely randomly and unannounced. And she has the code to our door, so she will give a courtesy doorbell ring before letting herself in. A lot of the time she is bringing over some food for us, which I obviously appreciate, but also her cooking is very bland and almost always unseasoned, but I cannot say anything about that. I always take the food graciously and tell her it was good if she asks, but it is extremely disruptive to my routine and day, and disruptive to our toddler. He absolutely loves seeing her, so he gets extremely hyped to see her, but also extremely upset when she leaves, and I hate having to deal with the fallout when she is only dropping by for a few minutes. Sometimes she will call when he is at daycare, which he only goes twice a week, and ask if she can take him out for the day. I remind her he is at daycare, and she quickly apologizes and hangs up. But she forgets and does it again a few weeks later. She is also supposed to be teaching him a second language, which she agrees to, so I am constantly reminding her to speak to him in a different language. But she constantly mixes it up with English, which defeats the purpose. I wish she would leave me alone, and that we would just have a pre-planned dinner like once a week. But the problem is, they do not know anyone here and are retired, so her only existence and reason to live right now is to be a grandma to my son. We are literally their only social interaction. Another feeling I cannot squash is a feeling of jealousy. The reason why I don't like spending time with her and my toddler together is that since he loves her so much, he wants nothing to do with me when he is with us and only wants to play with and be held by grandma. It makes me feel so jealous, and I don't know why. I should be happy. The same thing happens with my mom, but I am so happy to see them interact and play and form a bond. Is it because it is my own mom versus my mother-in-law? Right now, she has been away for almost a full month due to family emergencies. And honestly, it has been so nice. I don't feel on edge, wondering if she will be randomly dropping by. My toddler seems better behaved now that she's not around. Our routines have stayed consistent. I get to eat my own food that I meal planned and prepped for. I can take him out for adventures without feeling guilty that I should be inviting grandma. Whenever my husband FaceTimes her to talk to our toddler, I literally have to go to a different room and hide because I hate hearing her speak. It is bad. I don't know what's wrong with me. I want her to stay away forever and go back to how it was. I think she is supposed to come back soon, and it is filling me with dread. Also, I'm expecting another baby soon, and the idea of them being regular figures in her babyhood fills me with dread. I just think they will be a bad influence on her. I guess I am very controlling, but I have done so much research and read so many books and talked to so many people to inform myself on the best ways to raise my babies, and I don't want anyone interfering with it, especially because I can't just harp on them for every little thing they disagree with. People would say be grateful for the village that you have, but honestly I don't want it. I love the little bubble that is me, my husband, and my babies. I guess I don't know what the point of this post is. To vent? To hear if anyone feels similarly? Tips on how to change my feelings? Like it or not, I think they are sticking around forever. How do I manage this source of stress in my life? Is it possible to draw a line where I only see them once a week? Maybe the solution is that the next apartment they live in should not be 5 minutes away to deter her from dropping by frequently unannounced. What do? Update to mother-in-law, who constantly drops by unannounced and has our door code. So, I mentioned she was away for a while, and I was building up a plan for creating boundaries. She got back this weekend, and here is how it went. I had my husband call her after she arrived to make sure she got picked up by my father-in-law and got home safely. I also told him to make a plan on the phone for when to meet, so we know when to expect her, and to also tell her to text before she wants to drop by. I hoped this would somewhat eliminate her random drop-ins. They decided she would drop by the next day, around 4 p.m., after my son's nap to see him. He re-emphasized she would text before coming. I was happy with this arrangement. The next day comes around, and she texts around 2 p.m., saying she will be dropping by with lunch, and she would be there in 10 minutes. I immediately text my husband, because our son literally went down for a nap, and I did not want to eat lunch and chat loudly, potentially waking him up. So my husband texts back, "Please come back at 4, little one is still napping." She said, "It is too late, I already ordered food, I will just drop it off." She drops off the food, and we chat at the doorway a little, and she says she will drop by later again to see our son, no specific time mentioned, and she leaves before I can even say anything. She comes back later, around 5 p.m., does not text to say she was coming, which she had been doing so well in the morning. She just shows up. I decided not to say anything then, just to tell her on her way out. She stayed a few hours playing, and we caught up, and it was relatively pleasant. On her way out, she says, "Okay, see you tomorrow." And I made it a point to say, "He is in daycare tomorrow. Let us plan to meet Thursday or Friday." Because at this point, it is already feeling like she wants to drop by every day again like she used to. She agrees, and I also re-emphasize, "Please text before coming because it makes me nervous when you just show up." She says, "Why does it make you nervous?" Kind of in a joking way, but said okay. So today I took it easy and dropped him off at daycare. I didn't clean up after myself because I thought I would not be seeing my mother-in-law for a few days. She calls my husband and says she wants to drop by with food she cooked. I tell him, "Okay, but tell her I am napping. I don't want to see her." So she drops by around lunch with food and chats with my husband and leaves. I think that's it. Later, I go to pick my son up from daycare and we run some errands. I see on the ring that they have just let themselves in while no one is home. A few minutes later, my husband texts saying they needed help with something on their phone and dropped by. They will be waiting for my husband, who is about 15 minutes from home, also running his own errand. Immediately, I am a little pissed. She's just back to her routine of coming around every day, multiple times a day, and using our code. I purposefully stayed out with my son until they left. I think at this point, I know I need to just change the code. Ugh. Why is it so hard for them? Final update to my mother-in-law, who was constantly dropping by and letting herself in. So, after my previous post, my mother-in-law dropped by again the next morning, before I could make any moves to talk to my husband about all this. She called me, but I was in the shower, so she called my husband, who said, yes, you can drop by. She was dropping off food again, obviously. She dropped by literally 10 minutes before I had to take my toddler to a class, and he was so upset that he had to leave because he could not play with grandma. He cried the whole way I drove to class, and oh my God, I called my husband and went apes hit on him and told him he had to tell her to stop coming by. That night we had a long talk, and he took our son over to their house for dinner, and she gave the perfect opening. She said, oh, I will drop by tomorrow because I cooked XYZ. And he said, no mom, you cannot come every day. And my father-in-law apparently jumped in and said, see, he said, you cannot come every day. So maybe he has been sensing something too. Anyway, he told her she can't drop by whenever she wants to anymore, and that we would have one dinner and one play date a week. He said he would come by and pick up any food if she wanted us to have it. She was extremely butthurt at first. On his way out, he was like, okay, so just let me know about whatever it is you cooked. And she was like, no, forget it. But a couple of days later, when he called her up and asked if she wanted to do a play date, and she came, she had food she had cooked and seemed normal again. And guys, it has been so nice. She has not dropped by unannounced a single time. I saw her for dinner last night, and I know I will not see her again until Friday for when she picks my son up for a morning play date. She has been handing off food during dinner or when she comes to pick him up, so that's been really nice. She hasn't been snarky about it all. I think she genuinely did not understand that she was doing anything wrong and needed the boundary to be said out loud. So happy ending here, and thank you guys for letting me vent and all the advice. And that wraps up today's round of absolutely unbearable mother-in-law stories. Seriously, how are some people this dramatic over someone else's marriage, baby, or home? Thanks for sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed this wild set of stories. If you did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and drop a comment below. I always love hearing your thoughts, or if you've dealt with a mother-in-law from hell too. New stories are on the way, so stay tuned. And until then, stay sane, stay safe, and maybe keep your mother-in-law at arm's length.